Hello there! Welcome to the first video of the Christian Critic episode, which is The Hunger Games. Just recently, I watched the first part of The Hunger Games, and I will say that it was okay. Now, I have to say also that I have not read the books, and pretty much I was not even going to watch the movie. But the reason why I have watched both part 1 and part 2 is because everyone was like, oh, the Hunger Games, oh, so good, it's so cool. So I was like, okay, well, I'll give it a shot. So anyway, a couple nights ago, I watched the movie, and it was interesting, to say the least. So if any of y'all have heard the Hunger Games, which I'm sure that y'all have, if y'all haven't, then what rock are you hiding on? But anyway, so the movie takes place in the far future, which is like a dystopian future at that. There's pretty much like these 12 districts. There was 13. 13 got blown up because it rebelled. There's these 12 districts, and they're all kind of in the slums. It's sort of like the Great Depression all over again, except for the social elite. You know, the capital where there's tons of technology and such, and you know, there's the president, all these different people that are just crazy rich and whatnot. And then the rest of the districts, the people that aren't the social elite, they're living in wooden houses, and they don't have showers. You know, it's just primitive society. And basically, with this government, to symbolize, you know, to show that how they kick the revolution people in the butt, they have every, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, a thing called the Hunger Games, which is basically, they select 2 people, a male and a female, out of every district, and they compete in this game. Basically, with these games, they try and make people to forget about their social poverty. Basically, gladiatorial games. It's what the Roman emperors did. You know, they just threw them bread and whatnot. It was like, hey, oh, come over here and forget your, your troubles and watch bloody killing. So that's basically what this game is about. And we have a certain young lady who is selected to be in the Hunger Games. However, you know, she's very young, she's scared, and she just doesn't want to do it. So her older sister, known as Katniss Everdeen, steps in for her and takes her place. You know, that famous line of, I volunteer as tribute, you know, that scene. So she volunteers as tribute, and so she enters into the Hunger Games, and she is met by a good-looking sidekick known as Peeta. I can't remember his last name. But, so the two men together, they train and such, and they get ready for the Hunger Games. So when the Hunger Games begin, you know, everyone's watching and whatnot. The world is unstable because people are wanting to rebel and such because they're tired of all this, and she begins to light that spark. And that's basically what the movie is. The first movie is lighting the spark. So that's what we have. I'm sure that there's lots of people that could say this is a very feminist movie because we have a girl out there, you know, fight, well, not just her, lots of different girls out there fighting and such, but especially Katniss Everdeen because she takes the place of her younger sister and such, you know, and she's, you know, fighting and whatnot, but I don't really see it that way. Well, she is a very strong-willed character and such, and there are some, you know, there's strong things about her. I really wouldn't call it, like, strictly feminist. I would say more that she is thrusted into the situation. You know, she takes this place for a younger sister to save her life because, you know, Katniss, she's expecting to die. So I really don't believe that you could make a link, a very strong link with feminist things in this movie. But basically, we have the high society of the, I can't even remember what the name of the empire is called, but of course, unfortunately, there is no mention of God in there except for in vain. So of course, that's a big problem. One of the other messages is with the revolution. I do not really like the revolutionary things in there because this culture sort of this culture embraces revolution as a good thing, and it's not. It's not a good thing if it's not with Christ. Because if you had, a perfect example of a revolution is the French Revolution. It was completely devoid of Christ, and that's what people glorify these days. You know, and people often also glorify, you know, the American Revolution, but it wasn't a revolution. We were simply going back and saying, hey, look, this is how a biblical society is supposed to work, okay? That's what we're going to do. It wasn't a revolution and such. So that's a problem I have with the movies. Another message that I did not like is that since they have these Hunger Games and they are all these, you know, young, basically they have kids in there from 12 to 20 and such. So basically you have, you know, peers killing peers. That just doesn't sell with me today, because there's a lot of bullying going on and such. I'm like, well, it's kind of like the last thing that you need to see is, you know, bigger literal bully in the arena, you know, killing these 12-year-olds and such. I mean, I don't think that sends a very good message. I don't care if it's supposed to, I don't even care if it's showing you bad, you know, showing that this is bad, that this doesn't feel right. So that's another message that I don't like. The violence in there is not bad. It's pretty quick. There are some scenes where, you know, some characters will have some blood on their faces and such, but it's not gory or anything. The main thing I would say with violence is that there can be disturbing scenes in there. For instance, like I said, you know, older boys and girls, you know, killing children and such, and also children killing, you know, but mainly it's the other way around, you know, because there seems to be a lot of survival of the fittest in these battle scenes, and that's something that I don't really like. So I would caution you with those scenes is that they can be a little disturbing. I would not suggest that for younger audiences. Any kids that you do not believe are mature enough to understand, you know, death with just more than just males killing each other, but, you know, death with children and females and such, I would not suggest that. Otherwise, violence is not really that bad. There's tense scenes in there and such. But otherwise, that's pretty much all on violence. Next, we have sexual content. There was no sexual content. There was some, you know, small kisses here and there, but they were just simple. You know, nothing worth fast forwarding. Kissing in there is clean, so don't have to worry about that. Drugs, as far as I know, there was no drug mentions in there or not. There was a lot of alcohol and whatnot. You know, one guy, he's kind of a drunk and such, but I mean, it's not bad. Next, we have language. There is a bit of cursing in there. I can't exactly remember all the words they had in there. I know that they did use God's name in vain quite a few times. Other than that, I think it was just mild cursing. But that's really all I remember. It's been a couple days since I've seen it. Yes, when I take the reviews, I need to do it the day after, but yeah. My official review, well, rating. It was good, but not great. It was an interesting movie, but it honestly seemed to lack lots of, you know, extra content in it, like storyline and whatnot. And the action, that didn't exactly appeal to me. I really like sci-fi movies, and while this could be called a sci-fi movie, I really wouldn't say that. The action in there, it wasn't my. It just didn't appeal to me that much. There seemed to be a lot of coincidences in there, and also there seemed to be kind of a lot of cliches in there, and honestly, cliches get a little boring. Like, you know, I'm sitting there, I was like, yep, he's going to say that, or yep, she's going to do that, or something like that. Well, I wouldn't say it ruined the movie. It was still good. I'll probably watch it sometime in the future, but it's not like Oblivion, where I saw it that night. I was like, oh, and then the next day I was like, guys, you know, Mom, Hannah, you know, Mom, sister, we gotta watch this again. It wasn't like that. So anyway, 6.5, pretty good, but not great. So Anyway, guys, I hope that you all enjoyed this video. So anyway, guys, have a great day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.